up on the racetrack one more time for a little bit of FATHEADZ Cup Series action here for the very first time on Verdane TV at Kentucky Speedway. Very cool, gorgeous looking racetrack. There you see the Quaker State 400 logo right there on the lawn. We can call this the Quaker State 100 as these drivers, 8 drivers still vying for 4 spots in that championship round of Texas in 2 weeks' time. Showtime, Paul Strickland Jr. up here in the booth, and alongside me for the first time since, I think it was mid-March, you and I worked together with these FATHEADZ guys here. Kevin England. Kevin, thanks for answering the call. How are we doing tonight?
Spectacular, Paul. Qualifying's over. Cars are taken to the grid. Looks like the 24 Gaunt brothers racing Toyota. It's going to lead us to the green as these drivers are all off on pit road. Fun racetrack, this racetrack. Not very grippy, a little challenging coming off of turn number 4, and I expect these guys are going to put on a pretty good show.
Absolutely. A little bit of a short field here tonight. 16 drivers answering the call. And David Douthwaite getting the pole position with a 29 at 389. Flat flying in that number 23 car. There you can see Chris Spear, Ed Boyles Jr., Trevor Absher, and Matt Mackin rounding out the top 5 as the rest of the qualifying order goes across your screen there. Tim Wartman Jr., he's going to be starting back in 9th place. Doesn't really have too much to worry about. Winning last week at Bristol Motor Speedway, he has locked himself in to that championship race here at Texas in a couple of weeks. And being the regular series champion here, Kevin, he was very excited to be able to kind of come out here and run some laps at Kentucky and not have to worry too much about what else is going on.
Yeah, I don't blame him. This is a tricky racetrack. You either hit it or you don't. With these open setups, it's hard to tell how you're going to measure up with everybody else. So, you know, it's got to be a comforting feeling to come in here and try whatever you have and know that you're going to be in the championship round as these drivers getting things set here for 100 laps of action tonight. And we're excited to bring it to you here on Verdane TV as the pace car leads them around turn number 2. The lights are off, and it'll be up to Douthwaite and Chris Spear on the outside of the front row to bring us to green. And I think these drivers, you know, this is the stage, Paul, where you're done with practice. You're ready to race. You want to get out here and get your event going, and you get butterflies, even in the simulation world, coming down the backstretch for a start, hoping you're going to get yourself a win.
100%. Looking like we're having just a little bit of issue with the pace car, but we're going to get that all worked out here as these drivers are going to be taking the green flag here. Looking like a couple of drivers actually stuck on pit road. Potentially maybe some connection issues with the server. I know we're having some pretty violent storms up here in the Northeast where the iRacing servers are from, are based as well. So going to get everything sorted out here and come back to you. Well, it's not going anywhere, but we'll get everything sorted out and make sure that we get all the action here live on Verdane TV. And it looks like still waiting for the field to get picked up here. And
You just saw the pace car go in, and they did throw the green. We're not sure if these drivers are going to come up to speed. I think they're going to self-pace themselves and let these other drivers come out and join the back of the field. Admin has thrown the yellow flag. You see the rest of the field coming through, and it looks like they're just going to manually set the lineup here.
So a little bit of a bug here in the iRacing service. It happens. The internet not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, and not are we here at Verdane TV still working on some graphical things on our end as well, but always entertaining, trying to entertain the masses here at Verdane TV, and it looks like we're getting everything lined up the way it should be here for the FATHEADZ Cup Series. So definitely going to have a great race here tonight. 100 laps on the docket here at this 1.5-mile track here in Kentucky. And like we made mention, Kevin, the very first time we're having a race here at Kentucky Speedway on Verdane TV. So really looking forward to it. It's been a long time since I personally have been out on this racetrack. But man, oh man, you can tell it's definitely going to be entertaining.
Yeah, it's an odd racetrack to drive because the front is round. And so like at Kansas, like at Chicago, you come off that 4th turn and you're hoping you could just plant the car and let it roll all the way out to the fence. But these drivers in practice, they were talking about tricky turn 4. Just not enough banking over there to hold the car. When you look at the design of this racetrack, 17 degrees in turns 1 and 2, but only 14 degrees in turns 3 and 4. And you come to the straightaway, which is 4 degrees, and it just doesn't hold the car. The drivers talked about trying to get as much speed as they could off of turn 4, but in practice, the car was washing up, sliding up to the fence, and they were just trying to figure out how to sort that out. As yeah, right now the drivers are in communication with each other on the FATHEADZ Cup channel, just trying to set the lineup here, and we'll expect to get going here in just a moment.
So while we get things sorted out here with the FATHEADZ Cup Series race here at Kentucky, we're going to take just a quick break, pay a couple of bills here with a commercial or two. We'll be right back, though, with the start here of the Kentucky 100 on Vidane TV.
One of the biggest challenges of managing a fleet of trucks, tractor trailers, and material handling equipment, hassling with maintenance, repair, and vehicle breakdown. Trans Service's dedicated contract maintenance service, DCM, takes that hassle away. We maintain your fleet, no matter what the configuration, to the highest standards, while giving you the greatest cost control. We offer preventative maintenance executed to maximum utilization, equipment life, and necessary repairs, all tracked by a state-of-the-art paperless computerized system. Assistance with equipment engineering, configuration, including new engine technology, and onboard computers for your fleet, as well as dedicated fleet contract maintenance. Dedicated on-site service facilities staffed with management and certified maintenance technicians, inventories of parts, tires, and fluids, and all necessary shop equipment, diagnostic tools, and technology. Supporting services such as equipment inspections and assistance with meeting regulatory requirements, DOT, OSHA, EPA. Contact us today to learn about our turnkey contract maintenance solutions. It's all about the experience, yours and ours.
CTWE wrestler The Mac.
And I'm Showtime Stevie Stamos.
Have you ever dreamed of owning your own race car and taking it out for a test drive? Well, thanks to our friends at Rent a Race Car, you can!
Visit www.rentaracecarne.com for all the details on how you can take one of these babies out to Stafford Motor Speedway. We'll see you at the races.
Touchdown!
And we're back here at Kentucky. Looks like we got those jet dryers out. Did a couple of laps, a little bit of a light mist coming over the speedway here, but you can see we're right there on your screen. The lights are off in the iRacing Mustang pace car, and the front row made up of championship contender, the number 23 Columbia ride of David Douthwaite and Chris Spear on his outside. We made mention that 00 car, the regular series champion and the first driver to lock himself into that championship race, Tim Wartman Jr., starting back there in the 9th position. And a little bit of a shorter field here tonight. 16 drivers signed up for the race. 15 made the call for the green flag that we're getting ready to take here, Kevin. And 5 laps in under caution, but we're getting ready to take that green flag for the very first time here at Kentucky.
Pace car leads him off turn number 4, just about to make that left-hand turn. Let the field go. There it goes down into the apron. It's going to go to the retreat of pit lane here. So hear the engines rev and everybody anticipating the start here. Watching Matt Macklin in the number 9 car sitting back behind the 88, come up through the gear, just rolls through as green flag is out. They head off to turn 1 for the first time. Good run for Douthwaite into turn number 1. He's going to be followed by the 88 of Ed Boyles Jr. holding that bottom line. The two of them squirting away a little bit. Chris Spear out to the outside, coming with a good run. He's going to make it side by side for second.
Great run for a couple of Hendrick Motorsports cars up in the front, the 88 and the 9, and the 9 drops back just a little bit. Don't look now, Trevor Absher in that number 19 car. This kid is bad fast, Kevin. Very, very quick no matter what type of racetrack we're at, whether it's a road course, short track, or one of these big, long, intermediate racetracks. Lots of energy, lots of talent behind the wheel of that number 19 car, and I would definitely be, I would put some money on it if I had it to see whether or not that driver in the 19 car is going to be up front towards the end of this thing.
Drivers in the garage area were talking about how fast the JGR cars are going to be, especially on the long run. And with a little bit of a shorter field, we anticipate that the yellow flag's going to be put away here tonight, knock on wood, as out front continues to be the number 7 of Chris Spear. He was able to use that outside lane to drive up there, and he's got about 2 car lengths over David Douthwaite. Douthwaite had dropped back just a little bit, got his tires up to tip or something, because that car seems to have responded a little bit more to that right foot, and now he's in the tire tracks of your leader coming off of turn 4.
And you can see that number 23 car, the highest running championship contender. We can tell that by that bright green spoiler and the green windshield banner atop of the windshield on those race cars. You can see the next driver in line fighting for this championship spot. Trevor Absher, made mention of him in that 19 Tracker Boats Bass Pro Shops Toyota. Having a great run so far. Started 4th and currently running in the 4th position. Definitely look for this 19 car towards the end of this race for sure.
Incredible save by Jimmy Absher over there in turn number 1. It looks like the 00 of Wartman slipped up a little bit, pushed going into the corner, tagged the 18 on the right rear corner. That car was 60, 70 degrees yaw to the right, and somehow gathered it up. Lost a little momentum coming off of turn 1, but he could have easily been into that bright green fence.
Lots of talent in these Wednesday night fields here for the Fathead Cup Series, and well, you can tell because Fatheads Eyewear jumped on as a series sponsor this season. You can actually check out their website, fatheads.com, and that's Fatheads with a Z. Use that promo code SHOWTIME to get yourself 40% off at checkout. I did it, got some fantastic glasses. I wear them at Stafford Motor Speedway every single Friday night when I'm out there helping out the Renner Race Car crew, as well as that 39 late model driven by Paul Verricchio Jr., one of the Renner Race Car co-owners. And man, great racing so far here. It's kind of set up to be single file. Every once in a while, you'll see some of these drivers try a different line or two as the track starts to rubber up here with iRacing. They've got the dynamic surface that they just kind of built in. So as these drivers turn more and more laps, they're able to put more and more rubber down. It heats the track surface up and really affects the handling of these race cars. And you can see the 88 of Ed Boyles Jr. down low, that 19 car all over the back bumper of that 23 of David Douthwaite. He's trying to find himself a little bit of clean air, maybe get himself around and get up into that second position.
Yeah, you can see how these cars buffer in the air. They're left, right, wobbling, the back end swaying here and there. The 19 a little sideways off of turn number 2, but man, what a run, and he just plowed it down into that corner on the outside. He's going to take over that second position. He's got to get on the horse there. Chris Spear has broken out to about 8-10 car length lead.
Taking a look at the most exciting action on the track right now. A little bit of a battle between the 88, the 23. Kenny Capola and the 3 is in there as well. There's a handful, or a pair of Hendrick Motorsports cars. The 13 of Preston Perrier is in there as well. Lots of Perrier fans over on the YouTube page. Be sure to check that out as well. Shout out to everybody who's tuned in tonight here on Facebook and YouTube. Let us know who you're rooting for, where you're watching from, and we'll try and give you a shout out throughout the evening. And it's pretty cool to see here, Kevin. A lot of these drivers actually have the YouTube chat opened up as well while they're in these race cars. Under green flag conditions, you don't usually see them jump in there and chat, but every now and again they like to check in with the fans and see how everything's going with the broadcast itself under caution. So be on the lookout for that, and we'll try and shout those drivers out as we see them.
have to anticipate that these drivers will have long green flag runs, and they're keeping that in mind. 37 laps, thereabouts, 35, 37 laps of fuel run. So we did start under a caution, ran about 3 or 4 laps. So right around lap 40, we anticipate these drivers will have to head pit road. Working lap number 16, they're almost halfway to that distance, and I would anticipate, Paul, that some of these guys are trying to break that entire run, take care of their tires, take care of their equipment, and we're starting to see David Douthwaite drop back 4 positions in that 5th position right now, and the car on the move, Kenny Coppola, in that number 3. He's up 4 positions, running 3rd right now.
Conveyor belt racing happening here at Kentucky, and everybody knowing this is a very long race, working lap number 17 of 100, the total distance here. You can see Tim Wartman Jr. taking a peek outside of one of the Palmers, the 24 car, going down low. He's going to try and hold on to that 8th position, but it looks like Tim's going to get the better of him on the outside. We're going to bring that 13 car, Preston Purrier, with him. But just exciting action all the way through. You can see the 47 car of Alonzo King scraping the wall just a little bit. And one thing I really want to make a mention of here, Kevin, with this field being so short, 16 drivers technically in this field, so we can see Wayne Bowen in the 11 car has come out on track, multiple laps down here, but 16 drivers currently on track. You really can't point your way in. There's not really much wiggle room to gain points with the field being so short. We're usually used to 25, 30 drivers in these Wednesday night fields here for the FATHEADZ Cup Series. And I know we're having some bad storms up here in the Northeast, so I'm sure that's definitely affecting some of these drivers' connections and ability to race in the iRacing service. The iRacing servers as well being based in Massachusetts. So could be one of the things that's potentially hindering the field itself. But Tim Wartman Jr. raced his way in. He won last week at Bristol. Preston Purrier, he's 15 points up. He's got a little bit of a cushion, doesn't have to worry too much. Ken Ellert in the 47, or check that, the 95, 3 points to the good. David Douthwaite, 1 point to the good. And it's between 6th place and 8th place. Matt Mack and Kenny Coppola, Alonzo King, and Trevor Absher. There's only a 5-point difference. So every single position, every single lap is going to count here. And you're definitely going to see some heads-up racing once we get a little bit further into this race.
Yeah, comers and goers, these drivers, some of them maybe didn't hit the setup, maybe don't feel comfortable yet. Just saw the 24, Wade Palmer, the 5th. He banged against the wall on entry to turn number 4, just trying to get as much arc as possible. The left rear of that car looks like it's wrinkled a little bit. Maybe had a little bit of contact, didn't see where it came from. Currently running in that 10th position. I don't believe he's got the car he wanted underneath him here tonight.
Struggling just a little bit with the handling of that race car. We're taking a look at Matt Mackin. Down 2 positions since the start of the race. He's back in 7th. Trying to hold on to a top 10, trying to have a decent points day here, at least a top 10, potentially a top 5. But Preston Purrier, he's one of the drivers that's got the biggest cushion. Obviously, Tim Wartman Jr. won last week, so he's racing a championship, racing for a championship here at Texas in 2 weeks' time. But next week at North Wilkesboro is going to be the final race of the round of 8, and we're going to know which 4 of these drivers are going to be racing for that championship. And right now, we know it's definitely going to be the 00. The 13 is in 2nd place. He's got a 15-point cushion, and he's running in that 5th spot.
Yeah, the good news for Purrier is he started up there and he's running up there. As he challenges for position, he's going to go down underneath the 88 of Ed Boyles Jr. and he's going to draw along right on that yellow line. The car looks rock solid as he drives through and is able to take that position. He's going to relegate Boyles back 1 more spot. As we look up front, it continues to be the number 7 of Chris Spear holding the lead. Good lap times, 31.532 last time to a 31.592 for Trevor Absher, who's chasing him in 2nd place. So your leader is definitely making a move. If I look at the way the field is set up here, Paul, the 47, Alonzo King Jr., he's up 6 positions, currently running 8th. Having a good run here tonight. It's a little bit harder to go forward as you go further into the field, but the butt kicker Camaro looking pretty good right now. Right on the back bumper of Matt Mackin as Mackin watches Douthwaite go underneath the 88. The 88 looks like he's not having a good run out to the outside. Just as I say that, he got a good run off of turn 2 and down the back straightaway holding his own. But yeah, one thing about that outside lane, Paul, you're able to keep that momentum up off the corners, and if you hit it right, it's the best way to go. So setting your field: Spear, Absher, Coppola, Puryear, Ed Boyles Jr., David Douthwaite, Matt Mackin and Alonzo King, Tim Wartman Jr., and Ken Earlett are your top 10 right now. Everybody kind of settled in. We're working lap number 26. We anticipate round lap 40, these drivers, if it remains green, are going to have to come in and take 4 fresh tires and Goodyear for 4 fresh Goodyear tires and fill up with fuel. I would anticipate, Paul, that they're going to take 4 tires, but it's hard to say. Some of them may try to use that track position depending on how their setup is.
Yeah, for sure. We can see the battle here for that second half of the top 10. These 4 drivers pretty much right on top of each other. They see Ed Boyles Jr. off the pace just a little bit in that 88 car, dropping towards the back of the field. And you got to wonder, we did have 4 or 5 laps of caution at the beginning of this race, and we did see a couple drivers come down pit road. So I am very curious to see if the race officials were able to or allowed these drivers to top off on fuel. Maybe they got just enough to kind of make it a one-stop race if we go green the entire way here. So it definitely could come down to fuel mileage. And we want to remind all of our fans out in the Northeast here. We made mention there are some wicked storms coming back through. Make sure your windows are closed. I had to run out to the parking lot real quick here to make sure that was all said and done. Can almost see the lunar eclipse here tonight through the clouds, but business is starting to pick up with the storms here at Fadane HQ. So we're going to stay online as long as we can. If we do blip out, we'll try and jump right back on. We've got the generator on standby, so we're going to try and keep going throughout the rest of the race, and hopefully we'll be able to see the finish of this race. But I got a lot of confidence. That generator is a pretty good deal there.
Drivers on pit road, we see Tim Wartman Jr. in there, 4 tires and fuel. Alonzo King down underneath, currently running in the 6th position of the 23 of David Douthwaite off of turn number 2, trying to make that pass. As a little pit strategy play going on here. A couple of cars heading to pit road. We saw the 9 down there also. Matt Mackin, he's now on the apron over in turn number 2, getting into the blend line here on the back straightaway, crosses that line and eases up to the racetrack. So we'll see where that falls in. Joshua Battles, Matt Mackin, Tim Wartman Jr., Wade Palmer, Ed Boyles all went to pit road so far. They're scored 1 lap down. As things continue to cycle around, they should get back in. They're kind of hoping, for what it's worth, Paul, no yellow flags. That would definitely put them behind the curve.
100%. This is really going to kind of spread things even throughout the field here. These drivers, they know it's a shorter field. There aren't as many drivers out on the racetrack. We can see that things are very spread out throughout the entire Kentucky Speedway. So a lot of these drivers are kind of playing the race backwards. They know they can make it about 40, 45 laps or so on a full tank of fuel, and rather than wait for the strategy, wait for a caution, they're going to come down early, fill that fuel gas tank up, and well, it's easier to fill a gas tank up when you've got a quarter tank in it already. So this definitely could be a move of the race for a lot of these drivers that came down pit road. Taking a peek, looks like the top 6 drivers still out on track. Coppola, Puryear, King, Spear, Kling, and Yeager out on the lead lap. Everybody else down on pit road. And you can see the 19 of Trevor Absher, the first driver, 1 lap down.
What really close moment over there for Matt Mackin coming off the corner. The 15 was underneath. Saw the 9 with fresh tires coming as Trevor Absher coming back to the racetrack. The 15 got a little sideways trying to hold the car down. Almost got into the 9. The 9 jerked the car right, went up, but did not catch the wall. And continued on with just a little bit of lap time lost as Now we have this different dynamic of drivers on different pit strategies, fresh tires here, worn tires there. Always makes for an interesting race, even with a small field.
Taking a look right
All
now.
the green spoilers there on the shot.
Yeah, and these drivers, that's the best way to keep pretty much know where you're at with the points battle is if you're racing on track with these championship contenders. And you can see, taking a peek here, Chris Spear is out in front of the 95. There you see him barely on your screen. Ken Eller, David Douthwaite, Tim Wartman Jr., and Matt Mackin all right in line here. Tim Wartman Jr., the only driver definitely locked into that championship race in 2 weeks' time here at Texas Motor Speedway. And man, it's spread out, and you can see just the 9 car just trying to peak down low. Mackin trying to get every point that he can. Each position here is 1 point in the championship battle, and being as tight as it is here in the round of 8, they want to get every little position that they possibly can.
Bergier on pit road, heading to his box all the way down there near turn number 1. He's going to drop into the slot. It'll be 4 tires and fuel for the Snar Camaro. Actually, I see him taking gas. I didn't see him change any tires yet. And he did not take any tires. Did you see the same thing I did?
I saw the exact same thing you did. So the little bit of strategy going into it, it does take a little bit less time. We're talking seconds to fuel up the fuel tank, and then it does to change 4 tires here in iRacing with these Cup cars. You see the 27 off the pace just a little bit. He's going to drop down to the bottom side and allow the 43 car to go on by. That's going to be Battles. Last car on the lead lap there in 14th position. And the 27 car, currently your leader, still out on track on the same tires he had before. And that's that 43 car getting his lap back to hard way.
You have to wonder if the 27's hoping a caution's going to come out. That's about the play he can have here, as he's got a 14-second lead. But you could see Spears chasing him down extremely fast. The car just not going anywhere on those worn tires. He's going to roll around turn number 4 one more time and continue. He's got 12 seconds. He might as well use the buffer as he can. But to me, it looks like every single driver has gone to pit road except for this number 27. And it's going to be Spear out front. Bergier, he's going to be right in that group now, but not on any tires. So I have to wonder how that strategy is going to play out for him.
You can see he's stuck up on the high side, really low side spot to be here at Kentucky, but we've seen some drivers able to make it work. A little bit of a kiss on the wall for the number 13, and there you can see the stints there for the pit road strategy. That's how many laps these drivers were able to make in that first before they came down pit road. And you can see Yeager, 38 laps so far, still hasn't come down on pit road, but he is going very, very much slower than a lot of these other lead lap cars. So I think he's trying to save a little bit of fuel. I think he's going to try and make this potentially a one-stop race for that number 27.
Yeah, the question is, will that pay off, right? The leader only has a 6-second gap, and you can just watch on the timing. It's closing as he races that. He's on pit road right now, and he's going to yield that lead as the Fat Boy Ice Cream Camaro. I'd like a little ice cream right now.
Oh, I could definitely get down with an ice cream. Maybe they've got some down there on pit road.
Can't pit the car. We're having ice cream.
Little Days of Thunder reference here on Vidane TV, and you can see these drivers trying to get. A lot of these drivers are kind of racing the racetrack right now. There's not too many side-by-side battles. We're looking at the most exciting group here: Tim Wartman Jr., Kenny Capola. There you can see the 23 at Douthwaite just off the picture there. Matt Mackin, the 9, kind of trailing back, and there's a shot of the 24. Palmer, he's leading this little pack behind him. He's got Jimmy Apsher in the 18, the 13 of Perrier, and the 19 of Trevor Apsher, who was running up towards the front, and it looks like he's dropped about 6 spots since the start of the race. And he came into tonight, Kevin, as the 8th place driver in points after a rough race. Oh, up into the wall, slaps it real hard, kind of a pancake smash there. Comes back down. It doesn't look like he's going to lose too much here, but the 24 comes down. It does the same thing going into turn number 1.
Tell you what, that shows how hard these drivers are running. That's about the fifth or sixth shot we've seen here tonight where sparks are flying here at Kentucky. And in the dark, you can see them come off as they roll. They're trying to get just every ounce of racetrack, every ounce of grip they can as they come off the corner. They talked about how difficult it was to get the car to turn. And, I want to go back to our leader, Spear. He pitted lap 32, and except for Coppola and Puryear, I think he's the one that's waited the longest. So chances are he has the freshest tires. And I'll tell you, he's put them to great use. The Schluter Systems Camaro is just flying right now.
100%. You can see accurate statement there. Coppola came down pit road lap 34, as did Alonzo King, and looks like Preston Puryear came down on lap 35. But definitely getting everything out of those tires, and you can see 39 laps was the distance for that 27 car of Yeager. But unfortunately, at this point, stuck in the 15th position, the second car 1 lap down. So unless he has enough fuel to potentially make it without having to come down pit road once again, that's going to be a tough road to hoe there from the 27 car to get back up front.
I have to say, I have my eye on Kenny Coppola. That car just looks great on the long run. Started in the 7th position, currently running 2nd right now, just past Ken Ehrlich. And I'll tell you, he's driving away. He might run down your leader here on this exchange.
3 car absolutely set up on rails, and they got the J&R Aquatics, a new Richard Childress Racing team sponsor here in the FATHEADZ Cup Series. And a pretty cool little deal that these guys do with this particular series. They run NASCAR paint schemes and teams, so it's really easy to follow along with who is working with who and who practices with who, works on setups and all that good stuff as well. And J&R Aquatics jumping on board with the RCR bunch, and there you can see their logo on the hood and the corner panel of the number 3 car of Kenny Coppola, and it looks pretty good with that bright green spoiler on there. Still racing for a championship, as we're 3 laps away from halfway.
He has driven away about 20 car lengths, but unfortunately he can't even see the 7 going down the back straightaway. The 7 is just on a rail right now. 31.298 is the time, but Kenny Coppola, he's in the 32nd bracket. That car is on afterburner in that number 3.
There you can see the battle for 6th right there on your screen. Right behind the battle for 4th and 5th, David Douthwaite setting in 4th, Tim Wartman Jr. in 5th, and there you can see King has a couple of Apshers behind him in 7th and 8th. So some battles, a couple of 2-car battles throughout the racetrack. Wade Palmer the 5th takes that 24 car down pit lane once again here. Not quite sure what the deal is, but you can see he's coming down to his pit stall to try and get some more service to that machine, the 13th place driver. But still status quo up front. Chris Spear getting a little bit, I don't want to say run down, but he's losing a little bit of that lead to Kenny Coppola, who's 4 seconds back.
Look at the 5th position right now. Tim Wartman Jr. just quietly working his way forward. He has not been, overly quick, shall I say. Just a yeoman job right now, sitting in that 5th position. He started in 9th. Douthwaite, who started on the pole, he's had a good recovery here. He's currently sitting solidly in that 4th position. The car looks like it has a little more speed than that first run. Not sure if when they went to pit road they could have made an adjustment on it to help him out a little bit. He's going to pull low and let the 47 go by. And I'm telling you, that 47's got some speed tonight.
New colors last week on that 47 car, Alonzo King Jr., bright green and black with the butt kicker logo on it, and that matches up with that same green spoiler on the back of him. So he's racing as well, trying to get himself into this championship race in Texas that we're going to see here on Verdane TV coming up in 2 weeks' time. And we don't really want to talk too much about the next season without finishing this season, but we do have a little bit of a name change for this particular series here on Wednesday night. Still going to be able to check them out at 9 p.m. Eastern Time right here on Verdane TV. But we're going to be running the Loose Lugs Cup Series, picking up a couple of sponsors this week. You're going to be able to broadcast the whole series on Wednesday night, and still looking for a little bit of partnership help for the Sunday night recruitment truck series. And that's where a lot of the new drivers go to essentially try and race their way in and prove that they've got car control to try and get into this Cup Series here on Wednesday night. But pretty exciting to have those guys on board. Going to be running Wednesday night again. Their schedule is over on their Facebook page, kicking off at Daytona Road Course in July, I believe it is, mid-July, and taking us all the way through the winter months here. And that's where business usually picks up here on Verdane TV. NEPS is coming back to New England, Pennsylvania. iRacing Group, East Coast Winter League, they've got some stuff in the works, and we're actually looking at a couple of the endurance races and towards the end of the NEPS season, trying to get those on the airwaves for fans to check out. So lots of cool stuff coming up, and well, Kevin, you and I actually get to hang out and have an ice cold beer or a Coca-Cola in a couple of weeks' time here at Stafford Motor Speedway, June 13th, the SRX race.
Yeah, looking forward to that. I've never been to Stafford Speedway, but I know the history of the racetrack, and it's always cool to go up into a place where there's so much background history, fame, the Richie Evans kind of racing that I grew up with, and watching the rags every week to see how the drivers did. And, I'm looking at what's going on here. Coppola had closed down that distance from about 6 seconds. Now his lap times have evened up. In fact, Chris Spear looks like he's clicking off some faster laps every once in a while. As we look at where the gap is here, Spear leading 2.5 seconds. He's got about 10 seconds over third place Alonzo King, 12 seconds over Absher, Jimmy that is. Trevor running in 5th position right now, 14 seconds back. Preston Perrier hanging on, 19 seconds back, didn't change tires. I'm guessing he's going to do it this time. And then you got the rest of the drivers who have dropped in 1 lap down. I believe they're back into pit road getting fresh tires, so they should have pretty quick lap times. And Chris Spear, boy, I tell you, whatever the magic is for that setup, he has hit it here tonight at Kentucky.
Yeah, taking a peek at the track map graphic here, you can see that 3 car just going into turn number 1, and he's trying to chase down that number 7 car, Chris Spear. You can see he's got a little bit better corner entry, it looks like, but that 7 car, Chris Spear, is just a rocket ship when it comes off of when he comes out of the corners, comes out of turn 2 and 4, is really able to pull away from that 3 car, and still working about a 2.2 second lead or so between the 7 and the 3 car. A little side-by-side action there. Ed Boyles Jr. kind of struggling with the handling a little bit in that 88 car, but he's going to go around or try and hold on to that top side, see if he can maybe race his way up the Spear in the 7 car and get his lap back the hard way.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, that car looked really nervous. They talked about that exit off of turn number 4. He was trying to get all he could up to that high side. When you see a driver in front of you that's on old tires, you just try to do all you can to get past him quickly and cleanly. I think he hustled the car a little bit too much. The car stepped out on him. He was able to collect it up, though. No problem, no harm, no foul, and he continues on. He's currently running into 14th position, 2 laps down, so he'd really like to get to that number 7 should there be a caution. Make sure that he's only 1 lap down, and he's going to scoot underneath him. Spear lets him go by, and that puts him 1 lap down.
Still a little bit of work to do there, though, for the 88 car. There's currently half a dozen or more cars 1 lap down coming down pit road to get service done on their virtual iRacing Cup cars here, and they're probably slowly going to be doing the same thing that Ed Boyles Jr. just did in that 88 car with those fresh tires. Going to be able to kind of drive up through the leaders here, get up around Chris Spear, and get that lap back the hard way, so to speak. And Chris is just doing a great job. He's holding on to about this lead's down to about 1.2 seconds. So in the last 3 or 4 laps, Kenny Coppola really starting to burn the wick on both ends. That 3 car's coming in a hurry. That lead is down to less than a second.
Yeah, 32.17 to a 31.71. Coppola has turned up the wick a little bit. Again, 32.17, exact same lap time for Chris Spear this time around, but even faster for Kenny Coppola, 31.47. 31.73 out back for Alonzo King Jr., so he's not too shabby. You're starting to see the speed come out of that number 7, but I anticipate any moment now these drivers will head to pit road and get 4 fresh Goodyears.
Seeing the graphic on screen showing the last 5 laps, the lap times between Chris Spear and Kenny Coppola, and you can see every single one of those laps, and now the 6th lap, lap 61, that 3 car has been quicker by about a 10th or lap or so, lap 59, lap 60, a little bit closer to a half a second. But the 3 cars coming in a hurry. That gap's down to 5/10 of a second, or half a second for those that are good with math. But he's coming in a hurry, that 3 car.
We're fixing to have a new leader here in just a moment as they cross the stripe, complete lap number 62. Now working lap number 63. Spear heads into turn number 1. The car still looks smooth. Just a little wash up coming up off the corner, and that's where the 3 is winning. He's got such a drive off from the center out to the outside of the corner, and he looks like he's driving it in a little bit harder. Maybe save the tires a little bit better. Interesting to see whether he has, well, slid way high there in turn 3 and 4, whether he's going to be able to approach that car with clean air as the dynamic comes into play as he gets to the back bumper of your leader.
Riding on board the number 3 car, Kenny Coppola, you can see right down on that yellow line, and just has an amazing exit off of turn number 2. Huge run closing in on the back bumper of the number 7. He's going to shoot on down low here in 3, making it look easy, but he's not able to make it stick on these older tires. Well, the car wanted to push up just a little bit, so you heard him way, way, way off the throttle. 7 car is going to lead lap number 65, and Kenny Capole's going to set him up, try and do it one more time, as we've got Absher in the 19 car on the outside trying to get one of his laps back as well.
Yeah, these drivers have to watch what's going on here. As the 19's going to slice and dice. He's got to find his way cleanly past the top 2, and he's going to do that, drop low and set sail. That's going to push Spear to the outside and open that inside for Kenny Coppola. These drivers have to be mindful as marbles and dust are left on the track. If they get up there too high, they could get into the marbles and let that car slide way up. So they got to make sure they stay down in the racing groove. This time, Coppola has a good run down off the bottom. He's going to get a good surge off the corner. He's going to draw alongside the quarter. They are side by side, steers it down into the corner and takes over the lead. New leader, number 3, the Tracker Off-Road Camaro. Coppola out of turn 4, going to pick up and lead lap number 66.
And that was the sign that Chris Spear needed. There you can see him down on the entry of pit road as soon as he was able, as soon as Coppola there in the 3 car was able to get on around. So Chris Spear going to drop to 2nd place, now in 3rd as he goes down pit road to get what potentially could be his final pit stop of the night. And take a look at Alonzo King here now in the 47 car, up 12 spots, currently running in that 2nd spot. Take a look at the graphic for the pit road strategy. Take a look at the current stints, and you can see the top 3 cars, or the top 2 cars rather, Chris Spear on pit road currently. 32 laps, so 33 laps for Coppola, and 32 laps here for Alonzo King in the 47 car. And you'll be able to see that these drivers are going to start slowing more and more, and it's really about time to kind of come down. You're only going to be able to get potentially 3 or 4 more laps on a tank of fuel, and it looks like the 3 car is going to slow down. And well, he might be listening to the broadcast. He's going to come down and get service on pit road.
It could be. He's head to pit road, and I would expect that anybody who didn't get 4 is going to take 4 tires. As you see him searching, hunting. It's so key to 44 miles an hour we see on the speed shot there. 45 is the limit, and you would throw the race away if you sped as he finds his pit box, locks it in perfectly. Right side tires going on, so we'll see if he goes for 4 tires. I can't anticipate that he wouldn't. Come around and work the left side, 4 tires in fuel for the number 3. Alonzo King going to stay out on the racetrack right now and be scored your leader as Coppola is done with his service, down and away. Looks like a good clean pit stop, and he'll return to the action.
47 car gonna take that car down to get his final service to the 47 butt kicker Nas ride. He's gonna come down 45 miles an hour, just like everybody else, and 30 laps to go, working lap number 70. These laps are clicking off pretty quickly. There you see Ken Ellert in a 95 Toyota. He's running in the second position. He's got Tim Wartman Jr. right there behind him in third. David Douthwaite and Chris Spear rounding out the top five. Chris Spear now up to fourth. Kenny Coppola rounding out the top five as Alonzo King going to lose a couple of positions on pit road as he gets his final service.
Look at the way these drivers broke this race apart. Wartman, he pitted lap 51. Ellert, he pitted lap 52. They've been able to run a little bit further on fresher tires, but as the run goes on, their cars will drop off. The cars behind them, Chris Spear and Coppola, 66 and 68. They're going to have fresh tires all the way to that final run. They're going to have to make up a little bit of ground. They're a little bit back, but I anticipate that those two drivers are going to be in the catbird seat.
And you can see Chris Spear is just absolutely set up on rails. He's going to come down low of Wartman Jr. He's going to try and bring Coppola with him, but the 7 car back into the second position, and he's got that 95 car in his crosshairs. He wants to get up there back to the lead. But Kenny Coppola still right on his bumper. You can see still kind of in his tire tracks, doing a little bit of homework at this point. The J&R Aquatics number 3 Camaro. He's trying to see where he's quicker, where he's slower, where he could potentially get around the 7 car. We saw before pit stops, he was able to come around and get the pass and complete the pass. Can he do it again with 26 laps to go here at Kentucky Speedway?
And just like we talked about, you can see how much of a difference those fresh tires make, and they're going to have better tires all the way to the finish. I anticipate these guys are done on pit road, unless they go quite a ways and the yellow comes out. That should be the last time we see him head to pit road. As well, I'm looking at the million-dollar question: can Spear hold off Coppola, or will Coppola have the better long-run car?
And it's really tough to tell. Last run on the set of tires, the 3 seemed to get quicker and quicker the longer the run went on. We'll take a look at the lap times between the 7 and the 3, the top 2 cars currently, and it's pretty much a toss-up. You can see lap 69 is when the drivers came down, or when Coppola came down pit road. We're looking at, that's actually the lap times between Coppola and Ellert there. So we'll switch that up and look at Spear versus Coppola. And again, the 3 car quicker, 4 out of the last 5 laps, but almost identical lap times, a 30.337 and a 30.269 the last 2 laps for Spear. And you can see within a hundredths of a second, that 3 car. And he's trying to peek on the outside right now, using every inch of that racetrack to try and gain just a little bit of an advantage over Spear.
Yeah, I think one of the things he has to do is go where Spear is not, as he looks for clean air on the front of the car to help it turn. Now he's going to be down low, and I think he did really well last time coming off the corner low from the center off, as it's Spire versus RCR to the finish here. 76 laps in the book, 100 laps is the distance. Coppola drove that car in super hard that time, right to the back bumper. Now he's going to take a peek to the outside. Have to wonder if, anticipated. You know, the 7 car needs the space to turn down in the corner, Paul, so you knew he was going to come up there.
Absolutely. Now they're door handle to door handle as they thunder on down into turn number 3. Give the advantage to the 3 car. He's going to come up, slide up in front of the 7 car just barely, and hold on to the lead potentially. He goes all the way up to the high side. He's going to lead this lap. 23 laps to go on the board. Man, oh man, this is going to come down to the wire for sure.
Over the 7 tapped the apron there, had to get out of it. The car, he chases it all the way up the corner. That's going to break it. And I like the 7's position, honestly, but that's not going to help his situation. What I was going to say is, if he can stay in the draft of that number 3 car, it is possible that he could stay with him and set him up later. But when that draft broke right there, that might allow the 3 to drive away here. So 7 struggling to stay with him.
And that's exactly what Kenny wants to see here in that number 3 car. He's got that green spoiler. Oh, up in the wall. Big contact for Spear on that right side of the number 7 car. We'll see if we can get a camera angle shot to assess the damage. But losing focus just a little bit. You can see the lead is growing up to about a second and a half. Coppola over Spear, and that's exactly what Coppola wants. He's got that green spoiler. He's trying to race his way into that championship race at Texas here in 2 weeks on Verdane TV. He wants to run that race for a championship, and really the best way to do that is to have that green spoiler and win a race here in the round of 8. He wants to join that 00 Tim Wartman Jr. for that trophy.
I'm looking at the 47 of King. I was wondering how he was going to play out with this. He's 15 seconds back, and even if he does have a fast car, it's going to be pretty difficult for him to run down those top 2. Just did not seem to have a good pit exchange on that number 47. He's still looking at the potential for a solid top 2-3 podium finish here if he can get through to Jimmy Absher, currently in that 4th position, tracking Absher down just a skosh behind him. Yeah, I think he's got a fast enough car, but I certainly don't believe he can get up there and have anything for the number 3.
And a lot of these drivers waiting for a caution to come out, but everybody's so spread out at this point in the race, it doesn't seem like we're going to have one out here, but crazier things have happened here at Verdane TV, and got to take a peek at that 5th place car. Preston Perrier lost a lot of track position, didn't come down and take tires last time, the first pit stop of the race. You can see Tim Wartman Jr. drives on around him, has a lap to come back around. Tim Wartman Jr. trying to gain a lap back. Preston Perrier in that 13 Snarr Geico machine is currently the last car on the lead lap in the 5th position, but able to recover pretty good here in the top 5. If he has a caution, that's going to be his best shot. Possibly come down pit road, get 4 more fresh tires on that car, and maybe just a little bit of a splash of fuel to make sure that you're good to go for a green-white checker if we do in fact have one. But Perrier able to recover greatly after not taking tires in the first pit stop.
Got a battle shaping up over there in turn 3 for that 3rd position. The 47 of Alonzo King right on the back bumper of the number 18 of Jimmy Absher. Absher slides up a little bit high, still able to cover the position. Here comes King. He's looking low, right down on the yellow line, even to the apron, side by side into turn number 1. And King's going to make it look easy as he drives away.
And you got to wonder, with 17 laps to go here, only 16 drivers in the race, 15 drivers still out on track at this venture. Why would the 47 push the issue so much? Every position counts. Every single position equals a point in that championship hunt. The 18 not currently eligible for the round of 8, but the 47 absolutely is. And Alonzo King currently running in that 3rd position. 2nd best running driver behind Kenny Coppola, who's leading this race that's qualifying or trying to qualify for the Final 4 at Texas Motor Speedway. And man, we've mentioned that race a couple of times here throughout the evening. I'm really looking forward to that. Texas is a great big 1.5-mile cookie cutter track. Very, very high speeds, very, very fun to drive, and I think we're going to be in it for a treat here in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah, love me a little Texas racing. Go down into turn number 1 just wide open, and then try to pedal the thing all as fast as you can out of turn number 4. As we see the 3 of Coppola get passed by the 95 of Earlett, I'm guessing has a little bit fresher tires, currently running in that 14th position, 2 laps down, trying to get back to that number 3. But at this point, the late stage in the race, it's just really kind of a bother for Coppola. Now Coppola has to wonder if he has enough speed. He's 5 seconds back to hold off Alonzo King, who's 15 seconds back. The question I have for you, Paul, can Alonzo erase 10 seconds, get back there to 2nd?
It really depends on the lap traffic, and we are seeing with the lap traffic, it's usually drivers that came down pit road here. We're taking a look at the pit stop strategy stint. Like you can see Wartman, Douthwaite, Mack, and they came down 9 laps ago. Absher just came down pit road recently here. Giger, Boyles, they both came down 9-10 laps ago respectively. Ellert just came down pit road Very curious to me because we see these drivers can make 34 laps, 35 laps on a set of tires and a tank of fuel. So some drivers electing to come out and kind of give it an extra or give it a shorter 5 or 6 laps stint. So it's really tough to say. I think if we get enough lap traffic, we get enough of these guys up here trying to race their way back onto the lead lap or gain one of the laps back the hard way. As you can see, battles starting to come up in the picture there, the number 43 car. I think potentially that'll give King the opportunity to maybe cut down some of that lap time, but I think it's going to be tough to catch. It's going to be tough to catch and pass Chris Spear in the 7 car. It's going to be a lot tougher to get around that number 3 car, Kenny Capola.
Yeah, look at it, Tim Wartman Jr. He changed his tires, and he's running a full second faster than your leader at this juncture. But as he looks out of his windshield coming off of turn number 2 down the backstretch, there's nobody in sight. He's got so much time to make up that even if he got to the leader and got past him, he'd have to go all the way around the track to be in the contest. And by then, my guess is the goodie will be run out of those tires. And the good news for him at minimum is he's only 1 lap down and currently running in that 6th position. So he'll get a top 10 out of this.
100%. You can see there on the timing tower on the left side of your screen, Tim Wartman Jr. in that 00 car is the first car, 1 lap down. And Preston Career, I'm very impressed with that 13 car holding on to that 5th position. Had a little bit of, not really a mishap on pit road the first time. Didn't take tires. Fuel only stopped for his first pit stop and lost a bunch of track position on that second long green flag run. We've been green flag all the way since about lap 5. We had a quick little misty shower kind of pass on through here at Kentucky, delayed the start of the race, but green flag ever since. Very impressed with these drivers. And you can see it seems like the 3 car backing up just a little bit, backing off that throttle. He's got an 8.5 second lead over Chris Spear in the 7 car. So not trying to overdrive the car, wants to save a little bit of fuel if he needs to, and he wants to have a little bit of rubber on those tires as well.
Yeah, right now everybody just kind of focused on lap time. They're trying to get the best clean lap that they can. Maybe there's a contest for position, maybe there isn't. It's hard to say, but everybody at this point, they have their own little races going on where it's them against the track, just trying to execute the entry, the middle, the exit of the corner, set the corner entry in right, coming up to the backstretch wall if that's where you're at. It becomes that mind game where you're just trying to click the laps down and make sure they matter.
A little bit of a side-by-side battle again between the 18 and the 23. Not for position, it doesn't look like. Jimmy Apsher in the 18 car, currently running in the 18th position, and David Douthwaite in the 23 back in 7th. So lots of different strategies throughout the racetrack. Barney's going to give him a high five the next time they come up by here. Kenny Capola coming out of turn number 4, turn number 2, heading down the backstretch. He's going to see the high five once he crosses the stripe here. 5 laps to go here at Kentucky, and second place is nowhere in sight. Chris Spear backing on up. It looks like it's almost a 10-second lead now for that number 3 car over Chris Spear in the 7.
Yeah, as he crosses the stripe, it is about 10 seconds. What we're watching is will Chris Spear back up to Alonzo King, who's trying to come forward. I don't know that Alonzo has enough speed, but he is running faster, 31.78 to a 32.08 lap time last time by. But, whoa, close moment there for the number 3. The 15 got underneath him. Your leader had to draw up in the seat there for sure when the 15 came by there. It scared him off of turn number 3.
That's Ryan Kling in the 15. Haven't mentioned him too much throughout the evening here. Currently running 14th, now 2 laps down. Was able to get around the leader to get one of those laps back. And you can see that little bit of ordeal gave the advantage that lap to Chris Spear. But you can see 4 of the last 5 laps, that 3 car's been quicker by right around anywhere between 0.3 of a second to a half a second. So that's that 3 car set up on rails right now. Crossing the stripe on the front stretch right now. 3 laps to go for number 3.
I'll speculate what happened there is the three just wasn't maybe paying attention. Went down into the corner and all of a sudden saw a car alongside of him because he had that momentary like jerk to the right, or maybe he didn't think he was going to come down underneath. Whatever the case may be, it sure looked like surprise to him as he comes off turn number 4. He's got clean racetrack in front of him, pretty much clean racetrack behind him. Goes across the stripe to complete lap 98, working lap 99, and unless the wheels fall off, Coppola looks like he's going to score the victory here at Kentucky.
A great drive by that number 3 car, and like you said, just has to keep everything on that race car and make sure he doesn't hit anything, doesn't look like there's any lap traffic to deal with out front or in behind, and that's going to be good news for the number 3 car. All he's got to do is make it around this track one more time, make sure everything stays on that race car, and he's going to come home and he's going to be racing for that championship trophy here at Texas in 2 weeks' time, again here on Verdane TV. And man, oh man, Richard Childress Racing, been strong all season, Kevin, but that number 3 car putting him to school here tonight. He's got about 10.5 seconds over Chris Spear as he comes out of turn number 4, and everything looking A-OK. Lights reflecting off of that race car. The flashbulbs going off in the crowd. Give that checkered flag to the number 3 car. Kenny Coppola coming home with a victory here at Kentucky Speedway. Chris Spear looks like he's going to finish up in that second spot. You see Tim Wartman Jr. trying to race him to the line, but Tim Wartman back there. The first car 1 lap down in the 0-0. And Alonzo King able to get up within shooting distance, but just kind of ran out of time. Jimmy Absher and Preston Perrier rounding out the top 5.
Fireworks going off over there behind turn number 3 as RCR has locked 2 cars into the championship in 2 races. They were not sounding too confident in that camp coming in, but for whatever it is, that 3 found the afterburners here tonight. A couple of He's going to come up here to the front stretch, come down onto the Legends track, and he's going to hook it left, hook it right, and do a couple donuts, write his name, in the front stretch straightaway here at Kentucky.
Taking a look at the finishing order there. Kenny Coppola, Chris Spear, Alonzo King, Jimmy Absher, and Preston Perrier, your top 5. Tim Wartman Jr., the first car 1 lap down. David Douthwaite, Matt Mack, and Trevor Absher. Joshua Battles, the first car 2 laps down. Ed Boyles Jr., Ian Yeager, Ken Ellett, Ryan Kling, Wade Palmer the 5th, and Wayne Bowen finding some trouble earlier on in the race. But give it to Kenny Coppola. Going to come home. You made mention, Kevin, the second RCR car to lock himself into the championship, and he's still down there burning down the tires. But we're going to catch up with Kenny Coppola. Man, that car was fast. Talk to us about that hot rod, Kenny.
Oh man, what a race. I'm stoked right now, fellas. My team and I, we put a lot of time into this race. We're going to put a lot of time into the next race. I had a car tonight that just gave me everything I wanted it to. Anywhere I put this car, it was fast. Wow, this is awesome.
Great run here. You made it look easy here at Kentucky, and we saw you had about a 10-second lead. Was it something where you kept checking your mirrors throughout? Did you have anybody telling you where that 7 car was on track towards the end of the race? Or were you just kind of racing out the windshield and looking at the stuff in front of you?
You know, I had one goal today, was to win this race. I had to look out the front, not worry what was happening behind me, and just race my race. I wanted to win to make sure I was in for the championship, and once I passed Chris, he's a good buddy of mine, I was gone. I just set sail and I kept going, man.
So you made mention your Richard Childress teammates, Tim Wartman Jr. locking himself in at Bristol last week, and you guys working together for North Wilkesboro. We blew the motor in the number 3 car. Hopefully we got another one for North Wilkesboro next week. But you're going to be racing for that championship trophy come Texas in two weeks' time here on Verdane TV, and you're going to be racing alongside your teammate, Tim Wartman Jr., man. That's got to be something to behold.
That's what teamwork's all about, man. We practice together almost on a daily basis just to get our cars tweaked in for every week. As much as I want to beat him, as much as he wants to beat me, it's all about team. But come Texas, it's game on.
Absolutely, and we're really looking forward to that race. Man, we still got another race in between here and that championship. North Wilkesboro going to be very entertaining here next week. And well, we got J&R Aquatics on the hood, on the quarter panel of that number 3 car, and you made mention your teammates as well. Who else gets it done for the Virtual 3 crew? Who gets you to and from the track?
You know, my wife lets me take all this time out of our time to do this racing. I want to thank you guys at Vidane TV, Butt Kicker, Sim Labs, Harpoon Design. Everybody that makes this happen, I want to give a shout out to. Everybody puts this together and it's awesome.
Put on a hell of a show here tonight. So congratulations on the victory. We're going to see you in 2 weeks' time racing for that championship.
I'm ready to go, man. Thank you.
Absolutely. I'm going to slide it on down pit road just a little bit. Kevin England, you've caught up with second place, Chris Spear. We think Kevin's down pit road, catching up with Chris.
Yeah, I've got to switch the microphone on there. So, Chris, you're standing here watching Kenny do his burnouts over there, and woulda, coulda, shoulda. I think the only way you were going to beat him tonight was to throw a tow hook out. Well, he was going by. He was hooked up, but you had a fast number 7 here tonight, too. Nothing to complain about running here, Kentucky. Good race tonight for that number 7.
Yeah, it was a great race. We started out just the perfect balance of loose and made a little bit of the wrong decision as far as what to adjust on the car to make it a little looser. And at that point, on that second run, I was really just trying to save as much as I could so that way I could not lose as much time coming out of pits and stuff like that. But, you know, once Kenny got around me, there was just nothing I could do. He was way faster than me. I mean, I ended up smacking the wall trying to keep up with him. So it was a great night, a lot better than last week. Getting disconnected in the middle of the race, which was kind of a heartbreaker. So to be able to back it and not have computer issues and get a podium, I'm all thankful for it.
Yeah, we noticed that car looked a little evil from the center off, and you were making a sparks fly with that rear end, trying to get all you could up off the corner. You know, second place, you look behind you, 17 seconds back. Alonzo King Jr. had a great run, but had nothing for you. Just only one car better than you, and I think that's a pretty respectable showing here. It looks like a complicated track to race. It did not look like the car was in the racetrack for you guys.
No, not at all. I mean, turns 3 and 4, you could either gain a lot of time or you could lose a lot of time. And unfortunately, as the race went on, I started losing time there quite a bit. That's where Kenny was just way better than me. But, you know, I got to thank my teammates, the ones that I have with the Alliance, with RCR. They really did a lot to get this set up as fast as possible. I honestly didn't have a lot of time to practice until last night. So going into this race, I really didn't know what to expect more than anything. I felt fast last night in our practice, but honestly, I hadn't had a chance to really dial it in to my liking, and I think that's ultimately what happened.
Yeah, when the race runs green the way that it did, there's no way for you to have any breathing room, no resets, no yellow flags to catch up and get things sorted out. Tell us a little bit about your pit strategies tonight, the way you worked out.
Well, once we went green, we realized that we could make it about 33 to 35 laps. And at that point, you know, you do the quick math. That means you can make it on 2 stops. And really, I think everyone was going to have to try to do something different to be able to keep up with us, the RCR bunch there at the end. And so that they had to try something different than us. So once they made that decision to pit early, that kind of solidified what we were going to do.
You led a lot of laps and only 5 cars on the lead lap, and you're one of them. Second place podium finish. A good night for you here tonight, Chris. Tell us who helps you get the job done on the number 7.
Well, first and foremost, we got to thank JNR Aquatics, our team sponsor. They've done an amazing job helping us get prepared for these races and really stepping it up in the playoffs because of it for the guys that are in. And also Simnut Sims, Butt Kicker, Budget Stem Boxes, Harpoon Design, which made this beautiful paint scheme, and Fatheads Eyewear. I mean, they've done so much for this league and continue to do so. So thrilled to have them on board and carrying them over into season 2 as well. Just a lot of thanks to those guys and the admin team. We really bust our butt to try to be as fair as possible, and sometimes it doesn't always seem that way, but it really is. We always vote on everything, and really, if it weren't for those guys, we wouldn't have this league at all. I mean, and I know I'm one of them, but honestly, all 5 of us and the other 4, I mean, there's just so much work behind the scenes that people don't see.
So heading to North Wilkesboro with a second place finish, and we're looking forward to seeing how you make out there. Thanks for taking the time, Chris.
At my home track, I'm going to do everything I possibly can. I grew up 5 minutes from there.
There you go, Chris Spear, your second place finisher tonight, and Paul Strickland is caught up with Alonzo King, who had a fast car and comes home third tonight.
Alonzo doing everything you had to do here tonight to get closer to that championship race here at Texas in 2 weeks' time. You came in last in the top 8 of the points, and looks like you've gotten up to 5th here. You made up 11 spots on the racetrack. You finished 3rd. Talk to us about that 47 car, man. It looked fast.
Well, I'll tell you what, this track, the first time I ever raced it was tonight during practice. We worked on the setup. I didn't like the way it felt around other cars, so I didn't qualify. I just wanted to start in the back and let the car come to me. It started off really loose, and I was scared to even getting beside someone and wrecking them or something stupid. But after about 10 laps, this car came in, and I started picking them up and knocking them down. I'm very happy with this car.
Yeah, Kevin and I were back and forth here in the booth, wondering if there was enough time left to get up to those top 2 positions, but it was just a little bit too much of a gap there. I think if we had a caution, though, it would have been a different story with that 47 car.
I think it would have been, but to be honest with you, I don't think I had anything for them to. You know, them guys, even during the long runs, I was just watching them. Their times were probably about 2 to 3 tenths faster than I was each lap. So I just settled into 3rd and was like, well, best finish pretty much compared to Darlington that I've had this whole season. So let's just run it.
Absolutely, and made mention, looking at the point standings right now, you've gotten up to 5th place at this point, and Tim Wartman Jr., Kenny Capola already having wins. They're going to be 2 of the 4 cars going for the championship in Texas. At this point, pretty much go out and win at North Wilkesboro. Is that something that the 47 crew is going to be able to get done for you?
That's the plan. I'm going to be turning a lot of laps at North Wilkesboro this week. So, but hopefully luck goes our way. So, never know, it's racing.
Yeah, it's good to be lucky and good. So especially at a track like North Wilkesboro, we've seen it a couple of times here on Verdane TV. But man, it's going to be exciting next week. We know you got Butt Kicker. We know you got Knott's Energy Drink on that 47 car. Who else gets it done for the Alonzo King crew?
I want to give a shout out to My Veterans Passion. It's the MVC sticker that's on the hood of on the car. They do a bunch of work with veterans. Great organization. Go check them out on Facebook, please. Go give them a like. I also want to give a shout out to my team, Ryan and Ian. You know, these guys, they work with me a lot with setups, and we have a lot of good time running. I also want to give a shout out to Fatheads for sponsoring this league. It's a great league. Definitely want to give a shout out to the admin crew for the league. I know they bust their butts. And I want to give a hell of a shout out to Kenny. That was a dominating performance tonight, buddy.
Great run for the 47 crew, and great run for the 3 and the 7 up here in the top 10. We'll see you next week in North Wilkesboro.
All right, appreciate it.
I actually have to stand myself corrected. It looks like Alonzo has moved up to 4th in points. Tim Wartman Jr., Kenny Capola locked in, and Preston Prier with a little bit of a cushion as he came in with 15 points to the good. He lost one of those points, but that's definitely a tight points battle heading into the final race to find out our championship round of 4 here, Kevin. And Man, oh man, it's going to be exciting. North Wilkesboro, fun track to race, a fun track to watch. And then we made mention Texas Speedway. There is no better racetrack in the simulation to call a championship race with these Cup cars. Looks like Kevin kinked up his microphone cord again. Having some technical difficulties. There we
go. I tell you, I just think that's the coolest thing to go back to that racetrack. A lot of drivers have passion for that venue, and it was neat to see Kentucky and certainly, as you said, Texas Motor Speedway. Got to give a shout out to those who were watching the podcast, the broadcast. Tim Ingram, I hope you got that paint on that truck, and you're going to come join us back here for that Penske team. And Paul, got the call late, but happy to come in here, and I love watching this group. FATHEADZ Cup Series, just a talented group of drivers.
Absolutely, and always appreciate you when you're in the booth, and always great working alongside here. Kevin England, not Ingram. Got me all sorts of tongue-tied with the chat in there, but thanks for everybody tuning in, Facebook, YouTube. Give us a like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. Going to be taking a little bit of an extended break here. We're off Monday night. Usually you got the Sim 500 Trans Service Cup Series, but we're off for Memorial Day. Potentially could be doing a little bit of a broadcast for the Liberty Racing Series, a side project from Rowdy Wesley Hogue, one of the Vadane admins and founders from way back in the day, back a year ago from Vadane TV when we put this little deal together and we started entertaining the masses. But we'll be back Wednesday night. Tim's Corner Motorsports brings us Tim's Corner Live, episode number 18. Great show here tonight. Be sure to check that out on Tim's Corner Motorsports Facebook page as well as timscorner.ca. And then back here for North Wilkesboro Wednesday nights for North Wilkesboro for the FATHEADZ Cup Series. And well, tomorrow night we got some road racing action. Mike James from Eastbound Park up on the rock, as it were, going to be joining me for some multi-league Cup Series action as those drivers take on a Sonoma, getting closer and closer to their championship race as well. And then Friday, this guy's going to be up the racetrack, Stafford Motor Speedway. We're really looking forward to some regular Friday night racing. Really looking forward to June 12th. You got to get your tickets for the Rent a Race Car night. We're going to be having the Vadane Racing champions Richard Beasley and Jarrett Bolliard drive the street stocks provided by the Rent a Race Car fleet. Going to be camping out, drinking out, and cooking out all weekend long, because that Saturday, SRX making their debut at Stafford Motor Speedway. Going to be able to catch the action live on CBS. Friday night, you'll be able to catch that action over on flowracing.com. And Kevin, it'll be the first time you and I get together and hang out at a racetrack. So really looking forward to that. But
I'm looking forward. Yeah, that's going to be a blast. Come on, folks. Come on.
That's it.
Stafford, make your way in.
Yep, Connecticut opened up the pandemic restrictions, 100% capacity, no mask requirement at the racetrack. So come on out. They did just open up more tickets on sale at Stafford Speedway. Check it out, staffordspeedway.com. And hey, tell them Vadane TV sent you. Maybe they'll buy me a beer or something at the track. They got that new Double Hook IPA from Broadbrook Brewing, so we'll be knocking a couple of those back. But everybody here at Vadane TV for the FATHEADZ Cup Series, I'm Showtime. Paul Strickland Jr. alongside me here in the booth. Kevin England, have a great night. Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll catch you on the flip side when we do. We're going to be doing it live.